The Wednesday week is sponsored by Bentoria.com. That's Bentoria.com.
There's a chance here, a great save by Turner from McClare. Might come a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Rexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble with saving.
Hello and welcome to The Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm James. I'm looking after the hot seat this week for Lord Hillsborough, who I believe he's still out in Southend celebrating something or other that happened last night. On the panel this week, we have Victoria. Good evening.
Good evening, James. You okay?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
We have a slightly depleted team this week. We have no Fudge, we have no Eddie either, but I'm pleased to say that we do have a guest panellist this week, and it's a pleasure to welcome back to the Wednesday week, Joe Crann.
Evening.
Evening. Of course, anyone that doesn't know, Joe, you are Sheffield born and bred, but you work out in South Africa as a journalist now. But you were back in Sheffield for a few weeks. You've seen a bit of the Owls, and we'll have a chat about that in just a moment. First of all, though, this evening, and it's not very often that we start this relatively silly podcast with something serious, but it has been a bit of a sad day for the Wednesday family with the passing of Kris Travis. Kris, who was a professional wrestler, he was a Wednesday fan, a charity fundraiser, charity patron as well, and fair to say general all-round good guy. Kris lost his battle against cancer earlier on today at the age of just 32. We'll be talking more about Kris later on, but we wanted to start by dedicating this week's episode of the Wednesday week to Kris. He was a friend of the podcast, and fair to say his death has certainly hit us all. Rest in peace. Now, on to some footballing matters. And of course, it's been an international break, which means no championship. We haven't had a game since the win over Charlton, which feels like an age ago, doesn't it? Seems like such a long time ago. And Joe, that was one of the games that you caught in your, should we call it like a mini UK adventure?
Yeah, I think we can call it that. It's a little bit more mini than I'd hoped, but I mean, what can you do?
So was it 4 games altogether that you saw?
Yeah, 2 at home, 2 away. So I think I saw 6 goals, and we got 3 clean sheets in 4 games. So it wasn't too shabby.
Not a bad trip, that is it?
No, not too bad at all. Other than, I mean, losing to Warnock at home, that wasn't particularly pleasant, now was it?
And was that the first game that you saw of your?
That was
your
the
trip?
day that I arrived back. I literally landed in London, drove from London to Sheffield, dropped my stuff off, and went to Hillsborough. And that was what I saw, which, from what I can gather from the people I spoke to, was possibly one of our worst performances of the season.
You must have been tempted to get back on the plane and just go home after that.
Well, I did say that if we lost to Brighton, that I wasn't going to go. I decided that I said to my dad. My dad said to me, he said, "Look, if things don't go well against Brighton, I'm sorry, but you're not going to any more games. I'm taking you."
A bad omen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Take him to the lane.
So your first 2 games, then you saw 1-0 defeat against Rotherham, and then goalless draw at Brighton. So free scoring Sheffield Wednesday, who I don't think we've gone 2 games all season without scoring. Your first 2 games, you don't see a goal.
I was worried. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit worried because, I mean, well, to be fair, it started before, didn't it, when Forestieri got sent off. I'm watching that game on TV because that was on. I managed to see that one on TV, the whole game.
Oh yeah, the whole one, yeah.
Yeah, and then he got sent off, and I sent a message to my dad saying, "Can't believe this! Like the player that I've probably him and Bannon, the 2 that I've wanted to see the most from over here. One of them misses the first 2 games, and one of them misses the last 2. So, sorry, misses the last 1. I mean, it was it wasn't ideal on that front, but it was a good trip. I will say as well, after the Rotherham game, I saw Barry Bennett after the game. I popped down because he used to play with KG, one of the South African boys. They played together at Palace, and he said to me, "Oh, you're that guy who does the stats, aren't you?" So, which was quite nice, quite nice to know he recognised me. And I said, yeah, I just came back for a couple of games. I said, it's my first game back. And he just said to me, yeah, don't bother coming again.
It's nothing like feeling welcome.
No, so it was nice.
Charming. So then your second two games, total contrast: 3-0 win at Forest, and then 3-0 win at home to Charlton. Couldn't have been much different. That is kind of what we've been seeing all season. I mean, Forest was obviously particularly good, and second half against Charlton was pretty good as well. That was what you were hoping to see.
Yeah, I've got a very handsome man by the name of James to thank for the trip to Nottingham.
Oh God.
I went through with my old man, which was really nice. And to be honest, I didn't think Forest were a particularly good side. I mean, my uncle's a Forest fan, and he said to me before the game on the way up when we drove through, he said it's the worst Forest team he's ever seen, which I think is obviously a bad omen for them. But for me, some of the football we play and the possession football we play is superb. I mean, I'd probably go as far as saying this is the best Wednesday team that I've ever watched in my cognitive memory. I mean, I know we were good in the early 90s, but I wasn't old enough to really take it on board. In terms of the football we're playing now, it really is a joy to watch. I mean, when we turn it on, they're a different class team. It really is the best Wednesday team I can remember watching, to be honest.
I'd agree with that. And sometimes I almost feel like I'm being too optimistic when I say that, because I feel like I probably say it every year, but it genuinely is the best team I can remember. And I think we're a similar age. I don't really remember the early 90s that well. And obviously I see the promotion season as one of the glory years, but this really is, at the moment, this is the best we've been. It really, really is. It's great to watch.
I think if you look at that promotion season, and like you say, I mean, that was fantastic. I mean, I had a season ticket that year, and watching them all year, and then going through to Cardiff and watching them. I mean, that honestly, that's one of the best days of my life. Cardiff for that playoff final was absolutely different class for me. But I mean, if you look at the quality on show there compared to what we've got now, I mean, it's chalk and cheese. I mean, we had a good side there. We had a good side who really wanted to play for the shirt, with the Lee Bullens and the Steve McLeans and people like that, with a little bit of talent in there with a few of the guys. But now we seem to have got that mix where, yes, we have got players who want to fight for the shirt, the guys who are proud to be playing for Wednesday, but they're also very good at football, which is it's nice to see. It's nice to have that kind of mix now.
And it's nice that it's not a novelty either, I think. We've now got to the point that this is how we are. This is how good we are. I think we've all been cautious about saying it for the last few months, because we've all felt a bit like it could go at any minute. But it hasn't. It's still going. We've had the odd scrappy patch, and the Rotherham game wasn't much to shout about, but we really are good at the moment.
Yeah, I think, like I say, I just really enjoyed coming back and actually watching a Wednesday team that can play. And I said to my dad when we went to the Forest game, when we came in when it was 1-0, I said to him, because I'm so used to I'd been to obviously Rotherham and then I'd been to Brighton, which were two tough games, and I'm so used to us making life difficult for ourselves. Like all the years I've been going, 1-0 was never enough. Like you never really were comfortable at 1-0, and now I said to my dad just out of reflex, I was kind of like, I'm worried. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get something here. And then when we were stuck 2 past him and 3 past him, it's a really nice change for someone who doesn't get to watch him much. To see him win a game so easily was really refreshing for me, I think.
It's exactly the same I go obviously every week. I've been to just about every away game this season. I'm exactly the same. We go 1-0 up, and it's a reflex as a Wednesday fan. You just go, oh, we'll mess it up. We'll throw this away. It's difficult to get used to the fact that we can kind of go ahead, or even if we go behind, and you still think we can go on and win it. Like I remember when we were down at Birmingham and we went 1 behind, and once upon a time that would have been the start of a total utter capitulation. And we can come back and we can.
Ooh, that's a long word.
I've been practicing it, Right then, shall we have a chat about some of the Wednesday news that's knocking around this week? And there's not a massive amount, but there's a few things to talk about. And first thing is, it is end of the month, which means Player of the Month. And I think it's the first time this season that he's won it. But Tom Lees has won our Player of the Month vote. It's been a good month for him, hasn't it? It's good to have him back.
Definitely. I mean, for me, he makes a massive difference to that defence. I think we've got some decent centre backs now, but I just think that having him there, it seems to settle whoever he's next to. I think you can put any of our other centre backs there, whether it's Sasso, whether it's Louvens. I just think whoever is there, if Tom Lees is next to him, there seems to be a bit of air and a bit of an air of calmness about him. I mean, one thing I've noticed, I suppose, for the whole back four as well, but especially with Tom Lees, is their ability to not panic. I don't remember seeing a Wednesday team that plays out the back like we do. This current team that we have now, I don't remember seeing a team as calm on the ball. And I think that having Tom Lees there, and obviously Kieran Westwood behind him, I think he instills that in the team. He gives them that sort of calmness. He
does, and I think as much as I don't want to put a negative on things, we've needed that with Louvens at the moment. I think Louvens he really has gone off the boil in the last few weeks, and to have Lees back has really brought us back down to where we should be. I think we've been so shaky without him that it's nice to have him back in the side. I'm just gutted that Mudu Sugu didn't win because I voted for him. So.
He had such a great impact, didn't he? Through the
he did. Well, he was on the list, so I was going to vote for whoever I wanted.
Of March. Now, of course, we've also got this irony that we seem to have every month as well, whereby is it the FA's separate vote for Championship Player of the Month, where one of their nominees, who's now made it through to the final three, is Fernando Forestieri, who didn't even get in the top three for our own vote for Player of the Month, but is in the final three for Championship Player of the
I think people have fallen out with him a bit, haven't they? Obviously, for the couple of mistakes that he's made and things that have gone against him and whatever else. So I can understand from that side of things that maybe he wasn't going to get into our vote. But if he was up there for the Championship vote, for the league vote, then yeah, of course we're going to vote for him.
Do you think we take him for granted a little? Because granted, he's only played 2 games in March, which were the Forest game and the Charlton game. Obviously, we won both, and we won both quite handsomely, and he played a fairly big role in creating and scoring goals in both games. Is it now a given that we expect him to do that, and so that we barely even notice it now?
I think it is a given that we expect him to do that, but at the same time, I think he lets the side down when he's not there. If you know what I mean, I think we need him.
Just by his absence. Yeah.
I think the times that we've not had him has screwed us over, to be honest. And yes, it wasn't his fault, the second time or whatever it was. But that has let us down a lot. So in a way, yes, he is our best player by an absolute mile. Don't get me wrong. Like I said last week, I've not seen a better player in a Wednesday shirt that I can remember properly. I really, really haven't. But at the same time, when we don't have him, we're not the team that we want to be. And so he's got to take that as well as a bit of a sign of, yes, it's respect. We all respect him and we all understand that without him, we're nothing. Or we're nowhere near as good as we should be. But at the same time, he can't go making stupid mistakes and losing out for us.
I don't know with regards to the vote. I mean, it's a bit of a weird one for me because personally, I don't understand how he can be up there for the top 3 if he's only played 2 games. You know what I mean? Like, it seems a little bit strange. Like, whether he's taken for granted or not, I think Vic's spot on. I think he is a player that we really do miss when he's not there. I think the creativity that he brings to the team and his work ethic is incredible. I think a lot of people think he's a bit of a glamour player and that he's only there up top. But I mean, the shift that he puts in on a gamely basis is incredible. I just think I do think it's weird that a player who's played 2 games in a month can be up there for Player of the Month. I think maybe that's a reflection on the Wednesday fans. Maybe we're a little bit smarter than people give us credit for.
Does it go on points? Does it go like fantasy football points? So the amount of assists he gets or whatever else means that is in that.
I've got no idea what it's worked out on. I mean, they come up with a short list of, I think it's about 12 to start with, and then they whittle it down to a final 3.
Is it by votes?
And yeah, it's by vote as to who gets from the 12 to the 3. And to be fair, every time a Wednesday player has been in the 12, they've ultimately gone on and won. And I suspect that Forestieri will go on and win.
Is it just our fans then? Is that all it is? It's just a popularity vote then, isn't it?
It is out of the 12 that get nominated. It just seems a bit strange, as you say. I mean, I think the Hull match might have been in March, so I might be doing him a disservice. It might have been 3 games altogether that he played, but obviously one of those he did get sent off in, so we maybe kind of write that one off not as his finest hour. So it's on the basis of his performances against Forest and Charlton, which granted were both were great performances. And I'm sure we'll be sat here next week talking about how amazing it is that he's gone on and won the Player of the Month award. And I still can't get my head around the fact that it's Player of the Month and not Man of the Month. I still don't like that.
Oh, stop moaning.
It just sounds wrong. Man of the match, Player of the Month.
Player of the Month.
Why? It seems odd. Anyway, let's move on. And the other thing that's been making some big headlines this week, everyone been talking about this, has been young George Hurst, who I think is probably is he 17 years old? Probably the 17-year-old that we've talked about most on this podcast, because this is about the 3rd or 4th time that we've talked about him. But great news, he's now signed his first professional contract with Sheffield Wednesday. And this has had a great reaction on social media, hasn't it? A lot of people really excited about this lad.
Number 9, David Hurst, up front again, whether it's in 5 years or 10 years, I cannot wait. That would be amazing. And that would give people like me and Joe the chance to see it for real all over again.
Yeah, actually have real memories of it.
Yeah. And I think, and that photo, did you see the photo of him and his dad? Like him and obviously David Hurst. And then they showed a photo of David Hurst and his dad Eric Hurst and Howard Wilkinson when he first signed. And it was just classic. The only thing that was missing from the photo of David and George was to have Carlos in the middle to make it just like a proper... you see these photos when kids are like babies and then they do it again when they're in their 30s and 40s. I think that would have just made it like absolutely perfect. But, Carlos is a busy man. He's probably in Portugal. But yeah, absolutely so chuffed for him and so chuffed for us as a fan base and as a club that this could potentially be another big thing.
I think it's great from a personal perspective as a fan and as I suppose as just a supporter of the club, having grown up watching David Hurst and now seeing George there. But I also think, with my sort of journalistic head on, I think it's a really good move by the club as well, because he was making a little bit of a name for himself, and he was really making waves, obviously playing for England and scoring for England. And it's nice now that he signed a pro contract, so that if someone does want to come sniffing, that Wednesday can actually get something from it now. It's not just a case of somebody can be sort of tempted away. Like there has to be genuine money involved now. Like it's got to be because he's got a pro contract with the club. I think it changes things a little bit. I was checking, and it's almost exactly 20 years to the day since David Hurst scored. He scored his second. So he scored the second against Aston Villa in March 96. And obviously, 20 years on, his son's signed his first pro contract with the club. I think it's a brilliant story. I think it's...
As a dad, though, that's got to be the dream, hasn't it? That has got to be the ultimate dream for Hursty. That's got to be amazing. I bet it's absolutely made up.
Well, those photos that have been in all the papers and all over the Wednesday website, I mean, have you ever seen a dad look so proud as David Hurst? I've never seen him smiling so much in his whole life. He looks like he's going to explode. He's so happy.
You would though, wouldn't you? Even if it was one of us guys and our son went on to play for Wednesday, we would be bursting with pride. But knowing the career that you've had out of it and what it meant to you and what you achieved from it and what your life is like even now because of that, to think that your son's going to have that as well or potentially have that has got to be just incredible.
Do you think we've got to snatch the number 9 shirt off Atty now, just so that it's ready for George?
No.
You can do it.
No.
I'm not taking it off.
I wouldn't try and snatch it off him. My God.
That would be a fight, wouldn't it? It really
It'd be like trying to take a piece of bacon off a Rottweiler, wouldn't it? No chance.
Speaking of Atty, by the way, I know you like stats and that. So I was reading today, there's only 2 players in the Championship that have made more fouls, that have committed more fouls than Atty this season, yet he's still to be booked.
Really?
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be fair, you only have to run near him and he's going to knock you over, isn't he? He's huge.
Oh, I was going to say, I think a lot of the fouls given against him are so unfair.
They're never tackles, are they?
Yeah,
They're never, ever tackles.
By him being bigger or stronger, and it's like the guys are being punished now for being stronger. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. That I think that there is a sort of death of the big man in football now. I think the big players, they're just penalised for every little thing they do. It's the same on goalkeepers. Any touch on a goalkeeper and it's a foul, don't matter how sort of dangerous or...
I think you're right there. I think you only have to look back 5-10 years, and those fouls probably wouldn't have gone against a massive striker. But the fact that he is so big for this league, and he is, and he doesn't look like a championship footballer because he's so massive, and he does just... But he is skillful with everything as well, don't get me wrong, and he scores some good goals and he makes some brilliant passes. But he is such a big guy that, like I said 5-10 years ago, it wouldn't have mattered. But now he's so different to the rest of his calibre.
Yeah.
So true that. I would imagine that half of those fouls were probably actually just 50-50s. But he never gets any luck, does he? Poor.
Yeah, going up for an header, wins the header, foul. Must be a foul.
Have you ever seen him put in a tackle? Does he put in a tackle? I've never seen a striker's tackle from Ate, as far as I can remember, for the last 10, 15 matches. It is always someone runs into him and falls over.
Yeah. He usually gets the ball though when he goes in for a tackle. He's pretty good at winning the ball back.
Yeah, he is. He's for a guy who is 7 foot tall. He's not what you expect, is he? He's not that great in the air and tends to lose quite a lot. Stick the ball at his feet, and the guy's a magician, isn't he? He's great. So elsewhere this week, there's been a lot of talk as well, a few rumours knocking around about contract talks being opened with Ross Wallace about a longer-term deal with the club. Of course, he joined us as a free agent last summer on just a one-year deal. So there's talk about him staying for a little bit longer, and he's done pretty well for us this season, hasn't he? Would it be good for him to stay?
I'd keep him. I'd sign him up for a couple of years tomorrow. I think he puts in so much effort. I said the other week against Rotherham, the team was terrible and he was bad, but he still ran after every damn ball right up until he went off. Right up until he left that pitch, he was chasing everything. And yeah, he didn't have a good game. Nobody had a good game, but he really, really tried. And I think that's, it's not all we can ask of a player at the moment because we're too good to say that at the moment. But he wants to do it. He wants to prove a point and he wants to be up there. So I would give him his contract. Why not?
Yeah, I think so.
Unless he's on $8,000 a week.
Yeah. Then we can leave it. No, I think for me, to be honest, the games I saw from in March when I came back, were nowhere near as the games I've seen from him on TV. He seems to be having a bit of a confidence dip at the minute. His crosses aren't what they were earlier in the season, and I think that just comes down to maybe confidence. But as a squad player, especially, he's, as Vic says, he's got a great work ethic on him, and he runs his bollocks off. And you know that even if he doesn't have a good game, he's going to put in a shift for you, and he's always going to be a threat, I suppose, from set pieces. Whether it's corners, whether it's free kicks, he's got the ability there to do something with it. And I think having players in a squad like that, especially when they've got very good attitudes, can only help the team. As long as he's happy with the role that he's playing and working on the rotational system that Carlos plays, I can't see any reason why they wouldn't want to keep him on, to be honest.
There's an argument to say really that the majority of the players who form part of the squad this season we should be looking to keep. We want as little change as possible, don't we, in the summer? And I'm going on the worst case scenario here that we don't get promoted to the Premier League and that we're lining up in the Championship again next season. But if we can have pretty much the same squad again next season, that's what we want to be aiming for, isn't it?
Consistency is key.
Definitely. However, if we do go up, sack him off, get him Messi.
It's a win-win, isn't it? Because if we do go up and we've signed him up to a contract, we send him back to the Championship on loan, they'll pay his wages, everyone's happy.
Yeah, he also has a bit of Premier League experience, to be fair. There is that as well, if we do go up.
Yeah, we're doing him a bit of an injustice there, aren't we? I think he's a very, very good player. We've just, as a team, we've had a bad few weeks, really. Even though, we've won a few games and we've kept a few clean sheets, we've not been playing at our best.
Yeah, I think there's only one
him.
or two players who've got more assists than this year as well in the league.
Go on, Joe. Give us your stats, Joe.
I don't know offhand. I don't, off the top of my head, I think he's got 8 assists this season, and I think the max anyone's got is like 9 or 10. So, he's definitely pulling his weight and he's chipping in. So yeah, from that point of view, I think, like you say, I think we are doing a little bit of a disservice just because he's not been great over the last few games.
And there was that goal at Fulham.
Too. Give him a contract for that.
That goal at Fulham.
Sign him up for that alone.
Is worthy of a contract just for that, isn't it?
Definitely. And like you said, if we go up, we go up, and and like Joe said, he's got that experience there. That who's to say that he doesn't know next season if we were, God forbid, in the Premiership? Like, can I even say that? But if we were, he's been there, he's done that, and he can also tell a lot of the lads about that, even if he's in the rotation squad. But if he's not, like you said, keep as we are, we're bloody good, and if it doesn't happen this season, it'll happen next. Or it better do, because I've already bought a season ticket.
Speaking of season tickets, the...
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't even know what you call them now. Officially, these are the first phase season ticket renewals for next season, although we've already had one phase, which was the special season ticket window super early phase. So this is phase 1 early bird. Anyway, basically...
Phase 1 part 2.
If you sit on the north, then it would be £555 for a season ticket in this phase 1. Compared to $480 this time last season. So we're talking a £75 increase. Which is off the top of my head
£2.50 again?
Is 15% and a bit. Not that I've sat and worked that out. I am a maths genius. I can do these things in my head. On the other hand, phase 3 prices, so when the last season ticket availability for the current season was $690 on the north. So you would be saving 20% on the cost of phase 3 from this season. Are we all following this?
A little bit.
So if there's a 15% increase on that in phase 3, it means that you could be talking about an £800 season ticket on the north. So basically, you want to buy now if you've not already. Are there going to be that many people that didn't buy them during the super early bird mega saver window?
I don't think so.
It was near Christmas, wasn't it? That's the main thing. It was near Christmas. Like I've said, I was very lucky that Mummy and Daddy Wood stepped up and said, look, we'll pay for yours, you pay us off. But a lot of people in the run-up to Christmas won't have been able to do that. So I wouldn't be surprised. But then again, 70 quid over a year isn't actually that much if you haven't already done it. It's a bit of a beast. It's a couple of weekly shops or whatever, but it's not huge. So I think there should definitely be quite a lot of people running down to the ticket office before this early bird or whatever it is, second early bird is out.
It's going to cost me about 400 quid if I come back for the playoff final. So
it's nothing.
That's no.
And is that your plan? Will you come back for it if
there is no chance if Wednesday get to the playoff final this year? There is no chance in hell that I'm missing that game. I've already said to my girlfriend, because we've got another holiday planned, and I'm like, look, I will make a plan. I'm sorry, like I know that we might have to scrimp a little bit on the next holiday.
Food.
But everything. But I would never forgive myself. We're Wednesday. It's like in my lifetime, in the 26 years I've been on this planet, I have seen us lift one trophy. There is no chance that I'm risking going another 25. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way I'm missing it. I mean, it'll literally probably be if Wednesday gets to the final, I'll probably it's on a Saturday, isn't it? Or is it a Sunday? I think it's a Saturday.
Saturday now, isn't it? Yeah, they've moved it. It used to be the Sunday.
Yeah, well, if it's on a Saturday, I'll probably fly in that Saturday, fly into London, leave South Africa on a Friday, land in London on a Saturday, go to the game, go home, spend a couple of days in Sheffield, and then go back to South Africa. We'll be talking less than a week, but there's no way.
To be fair, it'll be a non-stop party. If we get to the playoff final, whether we win, lose, or draw, we will all be dancing around in the streets. So stay around for a couple of days.
On the Monday as well, isn't it?
It is.
So we've got 2 days of either celebrating or commiserating to do.
Yes.
Well, we've got to get from London back to Sheffield somehow, but we'll worry about that at the time.
I must
No,
admit,
exactly.
it did come up in the pub last match, didn't it, James? Last home match. Shall we start booking hotels? And my mum actually mentioned it. And she is the woman that, when it came to the Cardiff playoffs, she wouldn't book it until we scored against Brentford at home that night. She would not book a hotel. And she is already saying, oh, shall I book a hotel? Shall we sort something? Shall we book something? It's like, oh, no.
Do you know what, seriously?
It's a bit taboo, isn't it?
There are loads of people that have done it.
Really?
Yeah, there's tons of people that have already done it. I've got quite a few friends that have already, because nowadays when you book a hotel, you can cancel it up until like 24 hours before, and you don't get charged. So this is good and bad, because it means if you haven't booked one yet, then you've got every Brighton, every Hull, every Middlesbrough, every Derby fan has also reserved a hotel room, which they'll not be keeping because it's going to be us. So there'll be loads that come up like a week before at bargain prices.
Get yourself on Airbnb. That's the way to do it.
That's true.
I don't know what we're going to do yet. I think we might end up going to like Luton for a weekend or something. Just leave it till the last minute.
We'll just sleep
Watford.
in the car.
Let's all go to Watford.
I'll borrow my mate's camper van and we'll all stay in that.
Yes.
It'll be lovely and cosy.
No.
So when we have a car park, we can stop in.
I don't know if you want to do that around Wembley, to be honest.
It's very true.
Oh, no. Jeeves, we're going to need some more equipment.
Then you need to speak to Oddballs, a speciality.
What the?
Oddballs, a speciality deal in steel, food, and engineering equipment.
Where's that voice coming from?
We offer great deals on all types of equipment and can include dismantling, delivery, and erection anywhere in the world.
Did he just say erect?
We can also buy your surplus equipment or sell it on commission. With over 30 years' experience, let us achieve the best deal for you.
Where can I find out more, Voice in the Sky?
Go to www.bentoria.com.
You heard him, folks. Jeeves, get a broom.
Well, it's been a relatively quiet week at Hillsborough, but we have had one special visitor this week. Which, if you've been watching Sky Sports, you may have seen his visit earlier this week. And this is Mr. Jeff Stelling, who is doing, or has just finished his. It's like a charity walk, isn't he? That he's doing.
Yeah, he's doing prostate cancer, isn't he?
Yeah, and Hillsborough was one of his stops along the way. I can't remember, was it Monday or Tuesday or something?
It was Thursday, because I'd got half of the day booked off to go up and meet him, and then I had to work.
Oh no!
I know. Yeah, it was the Thursday before Good Friday.
It's nice that he doesn't hold a grudge, innit?
I know. Yeah. Oh, poor old Jeff.
No, but it's good that he popped along and saw us. Now, I must admit, I didn't see any of the news coverage of it. I'm assuming that we got some nice publicity out of it, and there was lots of footage and everything. Now, I have seen a photo of him at Bramall Lane with David Blunkett. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, David
Hold
Blunkett...
on a minute, David.
Yeah.
He listens to this. What are you doing?
Wednesdayite through and through, former club director. What's going on there?
David Blunkett, family friend. Cast
They just
aside
need a little
now,
bit
David.
of moral support at the lane at the minute, don't they?
Maybe that's true, actually. Anyone that they can get down there, they're going to try and get them along. So
yeah, he probably just couldn't make it to us, so he just said, I'll pop to them.
Sorry for him.
True enough. So, did anyone watch the England games on, was it Saturday and Tuesday? No?
Yeah, it's typical England, isn't it? I say typical England, it's actually typical English media. We beat Germany, and all of a sudden we're going to win the Euro. It's going to be easy. No one can get near us. Then we lose to Holland, and we're useless, and we're probably going to lose to Azerbaijan. Yeah. There's no middle ground, is there?
Absolutely. It was literally from one extreme to the other. The good thing, though, and, we adopt him when we want to. Wednesday fan, Jamie Vardy, former Sheffield Wednesday Academy product. Jamie Vardy scoring twice for England. Scored in both games, didn't he? And had, I think a relatively decent couple of games for England. So,
nice,
we could all be quite proud of one of us.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if we're talking Sheffield, I mean that goal against Holland was created by a blade and finished off by an owl. I mean, Kyle Walker set him up. So it's nice to see the Sheffield lads there. To be honest, obviously we had Kale as captain. I think it's great to see. I think it's even though we haven't got a team up in the Premier League at the minute, it's nice to see some of our products doing well for them, I think.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Gary Cahill is a huge Wednesday fan as well, like absolutely ridiculous Wednesday fan. So technically, we had 2 Wednesday fans on the pitch.
Yeah.
We did. So we had Cahill and obviously Jamie Vardy as well, who did score in both games. However, I don't think he had the most impact of any Wednesday fan associated with particularly the game at Wembley on Tuesday. Has anyone not seen the video yet of Tango? I wanted to play it, but
even I've seen it.
Yeah, realised actually the language in it is probably not suitable for a family audience. But it is, it is Tango being Tango, isn't he? What a legend.
He got so much stick for that as well, didn't he? From a lot of people that don't really know who he is or what he stands for. But, he goes to every Wednesday game, home and away, and he goes to every England game at home, and probably away as well. And fair play to him, he was trying to get the crowd going. It's like a library there sometimes.
They weren't having none of it, though, would they?
No. It was quite embarrassing, wasn't it?
So
he might as well just slap someone around the face like he did the other week.
They were all desperately trying to avoid eye contact with him, weren't they? I did see a tweet from someone that was sat quite nearby who said that actually he kept everyone entertained all the way through the game, and that video was just literally like a few minutes where no one was paying any attention to him. So,
can we get Tango on the podcast? How amazing would that be to get Tango on?
He's a Scouser, isn't he?
No, he's a Brummie. He's from Wolverhampton.
He's a Brummie. He's
a Brummie.
I've bumped into him quite a few times at away games and stuff like that. And indeed, after a home game not that long ago, I was in the Rawson Spring afterwards, and Tango was outside, and I was thinking, I might go and get an interview with Tango. And you know what? I was a bit scared.
It's a bit starstruck, isn't
it? Proper legend. This is a guy.
Whereas like anyone else, like David Garrido, come here, let's have a chat. Anyone else, but not Tango. No way.
Tango was.
I'm going to ask him. I'll ask him.
Right, we'll do it between us. We'll track him down.
We'll get
after
him.
A game. We'll probably need a couple of shots of vodka for Dutch courage before we do it. But we'll have a drunken interview with Tango. Brilliant. So a week ago, then we were talking about possibly Kyle Lafferty coming in on loan. In the end, it didn't happen. He went to Birmingham. Fair to say, no great loss.
I don't think so. I don't think it's that big a deal. I think as long as we keep the players fit that we've got at the minute, I think we're more than set for the running we've got now. I think the strike force is doing what they need to do. I mean, defensively we're keeping a few more clean sheets now. So yeah, I don't think that bringing in a Kyle Lafferty would have made the world of difference to us. I think not just me. I think everyone's been very impressed with how Gary Hooper's done. So I don't think there's any real need, to be honest.
Agreed.
I'd agree with that. I think we don't need him. We don't need him. And with the antics off the pitch, nah.
Right, I'm going to take you back a few weeks now. I mentioned something from officially the worst website in the world. And they're at it again. So this is a website called Football League World. If you remember, they were the ones that put together this worst Wednesday 11 from the last 5 years.
Oh, I was hoping it was going to be a Bolton review. Oh,
No. I'm sure that will rear its head again. But no, these are the people that put together the worst Wednesday 11, which actually contains some half-decent players. This week, in the last week, they have surpassed themselves because they've done a worst Sheffield Wednesday and Derby County combined 11.
Why?
And a worst Sheffield Wednesday and Middlesbrough combined 11 as well.
Obviously, big page views and that kind of stuff, isn't there?
Ignoring the fact that it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to just combine two teams together and pick the worst players, I'm going to take you through some of the players from Sheffield Wednesday who made it into these worst 11s. Now, some you may agree with. Lewis Price appeared in both as worst goalkeeper. We also had an appearance.
You obviously never saw Ola Tidman play.
No, these are current players we're talking here.
Oh, it's only
now. This is the current worst 11. We also have an appearance from Claude Dielna, who of course is out on loan at the moment, but is officially a player. Mudu Sugu, perhaps not a huge surprise. Jose Semedo makes it into the worst 11.
Very harsh.
Yeah, we also have Joe Bennett and Caelan Lavery.
Aww.
Now, this is when it starts to get a little controversial because we have Vincent Sasso,
Oh.
who I think's had a bit of a wobbly start, but a decent season. And we also have Michael Turner, who I think's been great this season.
Yeah, they got no better to, have they? Seems very
That's bloody useless, that, isn't it? Absolutely useless.
I'm not finished. 3 more names for you.
Oh.
Alex Lopez.
Ah.
ridiculous.
Sam
Stupid.
Hutchinson.
No.
That's blasphemy, that.
That is disgusting.
Wait for it. Asi Nui
No!
makes it into.
Where can we get some Chinese people to buy their website?
Oh.
It's the strangest website I've ever seen because they do this for random clubs. They'll just pick 2 clubs and do a combined worst
And
11.
just slate some of their best players. Oh, sod off.
And someone somewhere is making money out of that.
Yeah, because you're clicking on it. Don't click on it ever again. It's stupid.
It's all my
Absolutely
fault.
stupid.
But you know the daft thing is with that, on a sort of, I suppose, on a journalistic level, is that there's no way that they've seen those players play because Championship's not on enough. There's no way that you can make a judgment call on all those players from the few games that get televised. I mean, I know you can watch highlights and that, but
They're probably
there's
going
no
off
way
tweets, aren't they? You think how many people
exactly.
slag off Ate on Twitter? No one goes on and says how amazing he is, apart from me and my mum. But everyone goes on and slags him off.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at Premier League players, and I mean, you can literally watch every minute of every game. So maybe if you have the time to sit through all those matches and say, right, this is who's the worst players in these teams, fair enough. Championship, you can't do that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's true that. It did make me laugh because they did a bit of a write-up to explain why each player had made it into the team. And they were all a bit stupid, but the one for Sam Hutchinson was particularly ridiculous because it compared him to Barry Bannon and said that Bannon was better coming forward, so therefore he was a better player. And then it said that in the defensive midfield role, Jose Semedo has slightly outshone Sam Hutchinson. I'm like, I'm not actually sure that he's played 90 minutes, has he, this season, Jose?
He's really outshone him.
Bless him. So yeah, I am now going to ignore that website forevermore because I realise it is probably me that is keeping it in business. So,
I reckon you're losing a few IQ points every time you pop on there.
Probably. It's just good to have a rant at. Why would you combine Sheffield Wednesday and Derby County? Anyway, let's move on. I'm right,
too angry.
This is almost
Steam
like
coming from my ears.
This is like a bit of an appeal here now from me. Because I want to know whether or not do we have much of a fan base in Belfast? Does anyone know? Anyone come across any
I know a Belfast
owls?
owl. Yeah, I know one.
Basically,
It's called Paddy, if that helps. But I do know one.
That is exactly what
obviously.
I'm looking for, a Paddy in Belfast. Right,
there you go.
I've got a week coming up in May, and all my friends are being really rubbish. So I've decided I'm just going to book and go away on my own. And I'm thinking of going to Belfast. Do you want to come to Belfast, Vic?
Oh, I've got the dog, haven't I?
Here we go. As I say, all my friends are being rubbish. So basically, I'm after some Wednesday fans in Belfast to get in touch. I want some tips on where to go and stuff like that. And it'd be great to meet for a beer as well. So if we've got any Wednesday fans in Belfast, drop me a line on Twitter, say hello, and it would be lovely to see you when I come over and visit at the start of May.
I will try and put you in touch with my friend Paddy.
That would be perfect.
No.
Right then, let's talk about some more football because we've got 2 games coming up in the coming days. We've got Huddersfield away on Saturday, and then after 2 weeks off, it's like a treat because then we're at home to Blackburn on the Tuesday. Let's combine the 2 together in the style of the Football League World website. Both are quite winnable games, are they? Are we? We've got to be aiming for 6 points from these 2.
I think with both games, definitely winnable. I mean, the Huddersfield one more so than the Blackburn game, but I think that they're both games that if we're serious about this push now, they're both games we've got to win. I think that we the result against Rotherham, I think, was a bit of a kick up the arse for the team, and then the Brighton game was a really nice. I mean, obviously we didn't win the match, but I thought we played well. It was a good away result. And I think that might have spurred the lads on a little bit. And I do think that with these 2 games coming up, like I say, if we're serious about this push for the playoffs, or push for promotion, then the games we need to be winning.
Yeah, and I've not seen a lot of Huddersfield this season. I'm not going to lie. I'm told that they've been starting to play some really nice football. And David
they just
Wagner.
beat Leeds, haven't they? They have just beaten Leeds 4-1.
Yeah, they beat Leeds. I think they've been a little up and down. Quite unpredictable, and certainly very inconsistent in terms of their results. But they've got Naki Wells who can score goals. And it's certainly not. They're not a terrible team. They're capable of beating anyone on the day. But we've got, in recent times, we've got a great record there, haven't we? At the John Smiths or whatever it's called now. It would seem after kind of 2 weeks rest time, would you expect the same team that went out against Charlton?
I should hope so. I think that's the team to do it. Really. I can't really think that there's anybody that we've been missing as such from the last few games. So it'd be nice. Yeah, it'd be nice to go there and get a win. But again, I don't want us to pin every single hope on these next couple of games because, like we said earlier, if we don't do it this year, we'll do it next year. And if we don't win one of these, we're going to turn on them. And there's no need to. There's absolutely no need to. Let's just go into it and enjoy it. And hopefully win it, but then again, don't turn on the team if you don't, because you never know what's going to happen.
No, I mean, the Championship is such a ridiculous league when it comes to this kind of stuff. I mean, we should be out of the playoffs, given the run that we had a couple of weeks back, just like in the lead up to me coming back, and obviously including the Rotherham game. We should be out of the playoff spots. I mean, we
were so lucky, weren't we?
I mean,
many
results went in our favour, and even with the Rotherham game, I mean, we lost to Rotherham, but I think every other result on the day went in favour of us, really. And I just think that like you say, there's no reason to get uppity about it. Like, there's no reason to get worried because things happen. It's if we lose one of these games, yes, I do think it'll be a massive blow, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, there's so much still to happen in the Championship. I mean, I remember a few years back where on the last day of the season we were in the relegation zone at one point and ended up finishing like 17th. I mean, the Championship's like that. I mean, it could come to the last day. I think it probably will come to the last day when it comes to deciding the playoff spot. So if these games don't go our way, then keep your head up, because I'm sure the players will be. I mean, they'll be so up for these last few games that if they do lose one, it's not going to be from lack of trying.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the stat that I mentioned a few weeks back, where before the Charlton game, where sat and did loads of kind of maths looking at the league tables from the last few seasons and how many points it takes generally to get a playoff place, and said then that 6 points from our last 9 games, 6 wins from the last 9 games, should be enough to see us in the playoffs, which is now 5 wins from the last 8 games. So I'm not kind of saying that it's all right to go out and lose one of the games coming up, but it's certainly not the end of the world should we not get the result that we want. But hell,
that's what we need to remember, isn't it?
They're both winnable games.
They are, but I think the fans need to remember, and we can't. We've had a few games recently where it's died off, and we've all said, "Oh, that's it, it's all over." But actually, do you know what? If you look at what we've achieved this season, come May, we've done bloody good this season, and whether or not we go up or we get in the playoffs or whatever else, we've done really, really well. And if it doesn't happen this year, then next year is our year. So let's just be positive and let's just enjoy it. It's coming to that point in the season now where, yes, it would be great to smash every game and win everything, but at the same time, we can't put too much pressure on, because we all know what that does to a Sheffield Wednesday side, and we've just got to enjoy it and just go through the last few games and just enjoy the rest of the season and hope for the best. But if that doesn't happen, then we're not getting relegated. We're not in a relegation battle. We're not stuck mid-table. We're still fighting. We're still up there. So let's just be positive for once. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Vic, you have a little bit for us this week.
I do, and it's not your little bit. How exciting! It's my little bit. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but I am now actively seeking gentlemen or ladies. I need bucket collectors on the last match of the season against Cardiff at home. How would you like a free ticket? So all I am asking you to do is to stand outside the ground from about probably 12:30, 1 o'clock onwards and shake a bucket for Cavendish Cancer Care. And in return, you will get a free ticket to watch the last match of the season, which will probably be one of the most expensive matches of the season as it's going.
And probably sold out as well, won't it?
Yeah, definitely. I'd imagine so if it's going the way it is. It's going to be, it's probably going to be a sellout. It's probably going to be 40, 50 quid a ticket. Would you like a free one? Please get in touch with me. Either tweet me at Victoria1867 or at Cav Cancer Care, or you can email me at v.wood@cavcare.org.uk. Please get in touch. I desperately need bucket collectors for the last match of the season. And as much as it is about a free ticket, it's also about raising money for a very, very important cause that I'm sure we're going to come on to in the next couple of seconds.
Yeah, well, on that subject, as we mentioned earlier on the podcast, the really sad news earlier on today about the passing of Kris Travis at the age of 32. Vic, I know this is something that's hit you particularly hard because you were close to Kris, weren't you?
Yeah, he is. I was warned when I started at Cavendish that there would be someone that you really got an affinity with and that you really bonded with. And Kris for me was that. He was similar age to me, huge Wednesday fan. And I went to go and visit him in hospital, went to his wedding, which I was so proud to do. And yeah, sadly we lost him this morning. He was told in June last year that he'd finished his chemo. He played in a charity football match, the Reds versus Blue game, for Cavendish, and raised us a hell of a lot of money. And he was the most famous wrestler in the UK. And I've never followed wrestling particularly, so I had no idea. But we had fans from all over the country come to watch him. And as such, since then, he's probably raised over £4,000 in his name for Cavendish. And he was just the most incredible guy. He was hilarious. He was so vain, but he'd happily admit it. He was mortified that he didn't have his fake tan on in hospital. He was just the most wonderful man. And I know that more than anyone, he would have killed to be there at the last game of this season. But like I said, sadly, we lost him this morning. It's not been a very nice day for me, I'm not going to lie. It's, as much as it's part of the job, it's, when you lose someone that you've formed that bond with, it's horrible. So, yeah, God bless him. Lovely guy. Thought goes out to his wife and his stepson and his whole family. Yeah.
The Wednesday Week is proud to be associated with Cavendish Cancer Care. Cavendish is a Sheffield charity dedicated to improving the quality of life for people living with cancer. No one should face cancer alone, so Cavendish provides emotional support through counselling and complementary therapies. The services they provide are free of charge and are funded through donations. If you can help or would like to find out more information, you can go to www.cavcare.org.uk. That's CAVCARE.org.uk.
Well, that is just about us for this week. Vic, if anyone wants to get hold of you, how should they go about doing that?
You can find me on Twitter at Victoria1867. Like I said, please get in touch if you want to do bucket collecting for the last match of the season. Like I said, it's going to be a huge game. 30,000 plus people. You could have a free ticket. All you have to do is really smile, shout about a bit, and raise some money, and you could have a free ticket.
And Joe, how do people find you on the interweb?
If you want to get me on Twitter, it's YesWeCran, which is YesWeCran. Hopefully, I'll see you for a pint when we get to the playoff final in London.
We will all, let's all get together in London.
Fingers crossed.
to celebrate our success. If you want to catch me, I'm on Twitter at James Marriott. Of course, I'll be in Huddersfield as well on Saturday, sampling some lovely craft beers in some lovely pubs from about 11 o'clock. So if you're going, then drop me a tweet. I'll let you know where we are. Come along and have a pint. You can tweet the podcast at TWWcast. You can find us on Facebook. You can email us as well if you want to twwpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for your company, and we'll catch you next time.
Here's a chance here.